There are so many different roller coasters here in the UK, and they all have so many different qualities. Some are rather tall, others are rather small, some have lots of theming, and others don't have any at all. But obviously there are those coasters here that do rank miles above or below the rest, and everyone, including the pigeon outside, seems to talk about them. But don't forget, there are still those coasters in the sort of middle ground, this space here, that never seem to get talked about, and I feel like I love them rides a little bit too much. And today I want to appreciate them, give them the love they deserve. So be sure to watch till the end to see my full list, as some of these could be a little bit surprising. And be sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. 1,500 likes and I will do a part 2 with your guys' opinions included. I think that will be cool. Yes, thank you. Now then, like mentioned, I'm not going to be talking about the rides that are very much talked about, even if I do love them ones too much. Your Hyperias, your Nemesis Reborns, they always get all the love. They don't need any more. And actually, a lot of these are family coasters, not necessarily thrill coasters. Starting with probably the most random one that I don't think any of you will expect. Over at Adventure Island at Southend-on-Sea, Mighty Mini Mega. Yes, this thing right here. How do I love that so much? Look at it, it looks like it's falling apart, it makes some weird clunky sounds up the lift hill, it just looks rough. Well no, because if you've been on the Mighty Mini Mega, not only will you know that it has an amazing name, but you'll also know that the ride itself is actually extremely smooth, and some of the turns and drops, especially when you're sitting in the back car, are actually really good. It's up on the rooftop of one of the arcade buildings, so you get a great view out to sea. But that also means you have to walk up loads of stairs to get onto the actual ride, meaning you have to queue on the stairs, which I hate queuing on stairs. But it's all worth it for that amazing ride experience. Genuinely, on a good day, I might prefer it to Rage. That's how far I'm going with this, and that means it's the best at the park, as is the best roller coaster at Legoland Windsor, in my opinion. Minifigure Speedway Red Side. Now obviously I know the Dragon is at the same park, and Duplo Dino. Maybe I need to rethink what I'm saying. That's clearly the best in that park. But no, Minifigure Speedway Red, the All-Stars side, I believe, is actually a really solid ride for a Legoland park. A Sierra Junior boomerang that goes up the hillside where the old raft races used to be, and two separate sides, the two coasters, go side by side together and duel, and you get really cool interaction as you go around the layout. And you might be wondering why I prefer the red side. And I'm not saying the blue side. I prefer the colour blue to red. So what's happened there? Well, I find that the red side itself has a lot more intensity when you do start going backwards. I think that turn into the lift hill is actually a lot more sharp on the red side, which is why it feels more intense going backwards. And when you're going backwards and forwards, you actually go through that billboard the right way, so you can actually see the print on the front of it, rather than just some metal cladding. And I really think that that was a solid investment for the park, and I really enjoy riding it whenever I do. As I do, Drayton Manor's Gold Rush. Another family coaster with boomerang-esque elements on it, and it goes backwards. There's not two of them this time, even though going around that track there often feels like there's two coasters going around. This is one of those family coasters that I feel does get talked about a lot, but only because it's brand new, because I haven't really heard much about it this year. Gold Rush is some sort of Intamin multi-dimension family coaster that goes up a lift hill, has a launch that goes backwards and a launch that goes forwards as well, depending on what cycle you get, because there's two cycles and you might get an actual backwards drop off the lift hill rather than a backwards launch. Just the way that coaster is presented and the forces you actually get, especially going backwards, I think it's great fun, and I will genuinely go out to Drayton Manor and look forward to riding Gold Rush every single time. And I can't lie, after a recent video I posted literally the other day, I think the same could be said for the Wave at Drayton Manor as well. The now sit-down coaster with 4 inversions on it, and this is so much better than I remember it being. And once again, it doesn't get the love it deserves. Everyone thinks, oh, it's really rough, or the trains are really silly. Yes, it is on one train, which is silly, but after sitting on it for 75 minutes straight, I genuinely realise how much of a good ride this is. Not only for how comfortable those lap bars are, especially going through those inversions, but for how whippy those last 3 are. Especially the 0G roll. You genuinely are in your seat just like, oh, that was a nice vertical loop. But it used to be so much rougher when it was stand up, so I really do like it now. And the opposite can be said. Not of the love it part, but the fact that this coaster was fine before and is now pretty rough, but I still really enjoy it. Mandrill Mayhem at Chessington World of Adventures. Now, I was going to put another coaster from Chessington on this list, Dragon's Fury, but they recently slowed down the lift hill and it's really ruined the ride experience. I could have put Vampire on here, but no. But I really do like Mandrill Mayhem itself. It's got a great little themed area around it. I love the trains and the fact that you can sit backwards on it, just if you get lucky. Not even a choice. And everywhere you sit is a different ride experience because you either go further up one spike or further up the other, or get a different sensation when you launch. It's a really, really good ride, and it is so much fun, which I think is the key to a roller coaster. And I don't understand why this doesn't get talked about more, although this one kind of does, for the fact it is extremely rough now, which I do sort of agree with, but I still love it. That opinion about the roughness, a lot of people also have with Steeplechase at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, but I can't lie, I absolutely love this thing. Yes, you can say it's painful on the corners and in the sharp breaks, but that's the fun of it. Having 3 tracks, being able to race against your friends, and then obviously one horse catches up with the other, and you go around these really sharp corners and the airtime hills through and over different rides. I think I'm one of the only people that actually adores this ride rather than hates it, because even if I've got off and been like, oh, that hurt a little bit, I still get off with a smile and I've enjoyed myself because it is a lovely little ride. 2 lift hills. You don't see that often in the UK. In fact, you don't see this model at all anymore in the world because I'm pretty sure this is the last one standing. So what's not to love about that? And also another ride at the park that isn't very far from Steeplechase, Revolution. Because as much as I don't go on Revolution as much when I visit the park, purely because the station, when it shakes, slightly terrifies me. But whenever I do get on Revolution, I remember how forceful of a ride that is. An aerodynamic shuttle loop coaster that opened a very long time ago now, and literally consists of a launch into a hill with a vertical loop, then back up into a backwards launch, doing the same thing and back into the station. So it doesn't sound like the most exciting ride, but it really is, because you get thrown about in your seat, you get thrown upwards when you go down the drop, you get thrown into your seat and get so much intensity on the loop, going backwards especially. And the anticipation of that second launch when you're just sat there waiting for it to go is actually a little bit scary. You are just genuinely sort of sat there like, oh, when's it gonna go? And again, it's not talked about enough. It's probably one of the best coasters at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. No one bloody talks about it. We will stay in the more northern part of the country and travel down from Blackpool to Alton Towers, because there's a couple of coasters at this park that do get quite a bit of stick online for being either short or, well, I guess they're both considered short, and both considered a little bit one-trick pony, starting with the very definition of that term, Oblivion, the world's first almost vertical drop roller coaster. Because yes, I see a lot of comments online saying, oh, it's just a drop, and then after that it's done, you sit on the brake run for longer than the drop, and I think I've said that as well as a joke, but that drop alone is worth it. Because having since done loads of different dive coasters across the world, I still stick by Oblivion having the best drop on any of them out there. There is nothing like plummeting 180 feet, which 2/3 of that drop is underground, all the way into a black hole. No pun intended, because that used to be in the same area. Coming out of the other side, and yes, the ride is a little bit short, but I think the whole point of Oblivion is that you are diving down into Oblivion. I love Oblivion. As I do the roller coaster in the Dark Forest, one that gets many a complaint. I don't think I've complained about it too much, and I'm going to say it here and now. I do love the Intamin roller coaster 13. Because okay, it is a bit of a short layout on the outside. I have done videos in the past where I've extended the layout and it would be better as that, but for a first of its kind that has that drop track inside, I don't think they wanted to spend too much on the outside, and then they focused it all on that one drop track, with a backwards section as well, and that lovely launch at the end. Oh, look at it go. This is one of those rides that I visit Alton Towers and I go, you know what, I actually quite fancy a ride on that. Because even the theme of it is just really, really cool. Going into the woods and queuing up all throughout it and then going into this crypt, and it's just amazing. And I genuinely love it so much. Before I talk about my final coaster at Towers that I think I love way too much, we're going to go all the way down south to Paultons Park, because I'm going to quickly give some appreciation to Cobra before it closes. Or actually, when this is released, I think it might have already closed, which is fine because it reopens next year anyway. Cobra, or Raven as it's going to be known, is a Gerstlauer bobsled coaster, and these coasters are known to be a little bit painful. The corners they have on them are very tight, and you sort of go around it and go, But the layout of this ride is just so much fun, especially the bunny hops towards the end and that final helix, and I genuinely love this ride so much. Cobra, rest in peace for now, but here's that love that you always deserve. And finally, one of the roller coasters at Alton Towers again. We're travelling back up north. I would say I seem to love way more than most coasters anywhere else, in this country especially, and I see a lot of comments online very much disagreeing with my opinion and saying that I'm an idiot for putting it so high in my rankings. But that ride I'm talking about is Alton Towers' wooden roller coaster, Wicker Man. And yes, I think this is the second best roller coaster and ride at the park. No, I'm not joking. I put this thing above the Smiler in my rankings, yes. It's just amazing. The theming on it especially is insane, like the pre-show and everything. Oh, love it. And the layout itself, it is a family wooden roller coaster. It should not have as much speed as it ends up getting. And you're being chucked side to side, you're getting some floater airtime over some of the hills, and obviously the mist and the fire that comes out the shoulders, or the fire that sets a light on the track. Sadly, please reopen. Especially towards the back of the train and later in the evening or even at night. Because my god, that thing at night is a complete and utter different beast. But there we go then. Those are the coasters in the UK that I love probably too much. And a lot of them don't seem to get much love at all. So here. Have it. Be sure to leave in the comments below a ride that you love more than most people, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, 1,500 likes and I will do a part 2 with your guys' opinions. See you next time for a very exciting video.